I'm going to show you why your copy doesn't convert and 3 marketing tricks and how to use them to 10x your conversions. Give me 5 minutes. I'm going to change your life. Real quick, here's why you can trust me. I've gotten around 1 million views just on Instagram in the last 30 days alone. And if you know anything about copywriting, then you know it's pretty universal. I'm not about to Iman Gadzhi on you and pretend I know the solution to everyone's problem at the same time, but what I'll do instead is tell you the thing that is most likely holding you back. Assumption. Assuming means your sales are not booming. Haha, funny. I just made that up. But for real, in every bad piece of copy I've seen, every email, every landing page, every post, it's all one big assumption that anyone gives a flying shit. And I won't talk your ear off about your problems because they're yours. But before we get to the real fun stuff, here are a few ways to ensure people actually want to consume your copy. Number one, have a persona. I did this with you. What do you want? Who are you? Why do you want it? Because these questions must be asked so they can be answered by you. Otherwise, no one's going to look at your copy. Two, ask your ideal client to read your shit. Go straight to the source, have them be brutally honest, and find out if they're interested. Find out if they care. If yes, great. How can you build on it? If no, you got to figure it out. Ask why. Assume that people are, oh, never mind. This bleeds into my tips for you. So, with that said, tip number one, don't talk at your readers, talk to them. 90% of the time, it sounds like you might as well be trying to convince a brick wall to buy your shit. And I get it. It's not the same thing as a sales call. They're not there to ask questions or give rejections. But that's not an excuse to not play pretend. What do I mean? I just did it. Pretend it's a conversation and there's someone there asking questions for you. Why? Because it makes it feel like a conversation. It opens loops and starts conversations in your readers' minds. So before I asked, what do I mean? Maybe you weren't thinking that. But because I asked, what do I mean? You almost had to think it and therefore answer it, meaning you had to stay longer. Because have you ever wanted to know the answer to something, then tried to forget about it? No, that's ridiculous. You whipped out your phone and opened Google. Number two, don't just tell them about your product. And I'm not about to go all sales 101 on you. I don't mean just tell them the what's in it for me. That's basic. Like, we get it. That's helpful, but maybe that's not enough. Maybe if you sell bread, you need to find a way to do just about everything, but reach through the screen, grab both sides of their mouth, and shove the bread down their throat. Too harsh? I don't think so. Here's what I mean. Most every business tries to stick to the script, at least at first, and most of them stay stuck. But the ones who really stand out and make a lasting impression on a customer's mind, like a cowboy's brand sticks to his chest, are the ones who are so damn descriptive that if the reader reads, then as a byproduct, they're also taking a virtual test drive of your product. Drew Eric Whitman, by the way. So back to the bread. Instead of saying, imagine tasting the best bread in America. That's what it's like to eat Simon. But nobody cares. Nobody cares. Instead of that, say, imagine you're watching the new season of Suits. You're a sharp, loud ringing noise. It's your timer. You walk into the kitchen and open the oven to a seductive wave of heat and the smell of fresh, crispy bread. But that's not all. When you take a bite, whew, it's a little hot. You couldn't wait for it to cool down. But once you get past the heat, oh my God, it's the best thing your teeth have ever sucked into. It's the subtle but obvious salty undertones, along with the now melted butter you just spread, create a symphony of, do I need to continue? You can make anything interesting. And like it or not, now rather than just reading best bread in America, you read and we're forced to think about every little detail. And point three explains exactly why that matters. You're the only bread company in America being as descriptive as you are, you become in the customer's eyes far ahead of the competition. Why? Because what's focal is causal. And the focus is that you obviously know what you're talking about. And because the customer doesn't hear it from anyone else, then obviously nobody else knows what they're talking about, right? Even if they sell the exact same thing. Like, you can bet your ass they're coming to you when they want some crispy, delicious, normal bread. So what's my point? Don't be afraid of being salesy. Be afraid of being viewed as normal because, as Robert Greene said, court attention at all costs. Oh, don't be so professional. Like I said earlier about sticking to the script, it might seem good, but when has being normal ever positively impacted anyone? Nobody wants to get an email from their boss, and you can bet that they'd much rather get an email from a friend. Anyways, if this sounded great, but you don't have the time to implement, or you just hate me, don't own a business, and want to waste my time, go book a call on my website and I'll write your next 3 emails for free. Sup to get rich with me.